The Shady Side Academy bubble. A place where students are kind, intelligent, athletic, and school-spirited. It's a place of diversity, and a place where each individual is well-rounded. It's one of the few academic institutions where our teachers are not just teachers, but they are also our friends. In just under an hour, this bubble will burst. Yes, we, the class of 2015, will always be able to call Shady Side home, but no longer will we be able to make memories here as a whole. Whether we realize it or not, we have all been institutionalized at SSA. Finding comfort in our daily routines here of marching to assembly in the bitter cold winter, studying during free periods, struggling to make it through tests, and taking the fields together as teams. As we are released, it is important that we appreciate the new level of freedom that is being presented to us and the life of uncertainty that lies ahead. Miss Irvin proclaimed in her senior sage that we are all the product of what she, along with the rest of our teachers, does. I envision the teachers as seeing us as a pile of rocks when we began our careers here. Yes, I'm sure the teachers saw potential in us, but even the kind Mr. Hendershot was probably skeptical of what exactly that potential was. Now, we have been with them for 4 incredible years, and after numerous visits to their department offices, they have been able to do a rough cut on us, helping us sculpt and uncover our best selves, and making us the people we are today. We have Adam, Tyler, and Shay, who can refute just about any argument. We have our very own fashion designer, Felicia. Krishna, who if anyone can, will probably find the cure to cancer. Gab, Robbie, Sonia, and AJ, who are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice by committing to enter the United States Armed Forces, and so many others with wonderful and unique talents. But we are leaving SSA with simply a rough cut. Much sculpting and polishing remains. None of us truly know who we are or who we will be in the future, regardless of how set on our paths we are right now. On the first day of English class, my peers and I sat at the Harkness table in row 105. Miss Garvey, our new term teacher, briefly welcomed us and then picked up an expo marker and placed it on the table. She then told us to write a conversation between the table and the marker. First, speak as the marker, she said. Besides being one of the more peculiar instructions I had ever heard or received, the topic was both broad and vague. We could write anything. The possibilities of what could come out of this marker's mouth were endless. Write a conversation between the marker and the table. After 5 minutes expired, she told us to pass our papers to the left and respond to the person to our right, speaking as the table. After, we would read them out loud. Needless to say, it was one of the more stressful experiences, as I did not know if I had written an acceptable piece or if I had taken my conversation in the right or normal direction. I simply wanted mine to match the other students, so I could fly under the radar and not be condemned to embarrassment on the first day of scribe class, where I was supposed to be a good writer. After we each told our stories, it became evident that each of my peers took their conversation in a different direction. My marker was quite dramatic and reflected on its lack of sleep the night before. Zach Cosby wrote a hilarious comedy. Others wrote a more literal interpretation from the present. Some wrote horror stories, and some wrote love stories. There was not one story like the others. We all interpreted Miss Garvey's instructions differently. As we move forward, it is important to keep in mind that we each have different perspectives, ideas, and knowledge. Each of us has an encyclopedia of unique information that we have personally collected throughout the years. We are likely to receive a far greater education and have a better experience if we take the time to learn from each other rather than ordinary course material that has been printed in numerous books and that millions of other people have equal access to. Shady Side has taught us that learning can be attained in different ways, but roots in the willingness to listen to others. Throughout the process, an open mind must be kept, respecting all people and acknowledging them as a learning opportunity, because information can come from anticipated places, like senior sages, or unexpected places, like my waiter at Atria's last week, who told me when I was unsure of trying something new, "They say your mind's like a parachute, you gotta open it up for it to work." So, as we move forward, listen. Open your parachute. Secondly, invaluable knowledge is acquired through carefully observing others. Mr. Shlehetka welcomes us to campus each morning with a warm smile and wave, even on a frigid, snowy day. He never fails to ask us how we are doing or congratulate us on our accomplishments, regardless of how good or bad his day is going. Through Mr. S., we have learned the importance of selflessness and just how powerful a kind gesture can be. Finally, as we head to college and later to the real world, we need to be mindful that others will be listening to and observing us. There's nothing more noble than teaching others the valuable lessons we have learned along the way. Nobody has access to our unique encyclopedias unless we grant it to them. We would not have learned many things had people not shared them with us. Andrea, Rachel, and Kara, don't hesitate to show your teammates at Hamilton and Vermont what we have learned from coaches Kate, Pam, and Havern about the monumental effort needed to win a championship. In conclusion, we are now about to enter our college years and be exposed to thousands of unfamiliar faces. Rather than be intimidated by this, we should look at each new interaction as having learning potential, because the cycle is endless. We will never stop learning from and teaching others. The polishing of the rocks continues. The rough cut at Shady Side is done, and we are now able to see a glimpse of the gem within us all. The tools necessary to carve the rest of ourselves and develop into the people that we aspire to be have been handed to us by our wonderful teachers, coaches, and classmates. We are ready for the next step. Thank you, Shady Side, for the beginning.